With the holiday season in full swing and more people hitting the road, it's an important time to discuss the dangers and the impacts of distracted driving. I got two people here at the digital desk joining us now to talk about that. Joan Woodward, president of Travelers Institute, and Ryan McMahon, senior vice president, Cambridge Mobile Telematics. Joan, let's start with you. Can you tell us about the different types of distractions drivers are facing now on the road?
Sure. Thank you for having us. You know, with 48 million Americans hitting the road this holiday season, at Travelers, we really felt it was important to raise awareness about distracted driving. And so we put out a guide with tips and strategies for reducing that, and it's called Every Second Matters. So to get to Grandma's house safely this year, we're going to help you out. First of all, distraction is considered anything that takes your eyes or your mind off the road, of the main task of driving. This includes, obviously, texting, calling, eating and drinking, scrolling through your social media. We even found that a number of people are actively shopping online, making a purchase while they're driving. And so if you're distracted, you're not going to see that construction worker, that pedestrian, or maybe that cyclist. So a couple tips we have is set your GPS before you start your journey. Obviously, also put on that do not disturb. A lot of cell phones, most cell phones have that capability now. So also you can pull over at a rest stop to make a call if you must text or make a call.
Joanne, how did the pandemic impact distracted driving?
Yeah, you know, obviously fewer cars on the road, about 13% less miles driven during the pandemic, but we engaged in much riskier behaviors. Our speeding surged, and that led to a 16-year high in fatalities. Even though roadway traffic was down 13%, we had a 16-year high in fatalities. And so it's really, really deeply concerning. And our goal is really to empower drivers to adopt, these strategies for safer driving. So not only do not disturb, you have to speak up. If you're a passenger, you speak up to a driver who's distracted. And then also now we have telematics programs. So you can enroll yourself in a telematics program through your insurance company, and it can actually give you real-time feedback on your driving performance.
Yeah, Joan, I was going to ask Ryan about the telematics programs. Ryan, how are they promoting safe driving right now?
I think it's a really important thing that that viewers understand, that there are incentives that are available to drivers that opt into these programs from their insurers. The insurance industry has done a very thoughtful job of putting together programs that measure the elements that lead to crashes and then providing incentives to drivers to reduce those things. And when we're talking about the types of behaviors that lead to crashes, we're talking about using a phone while you're driving. We're talking about at-risk speeding. We're talking about not leaving enough following distance between you and the vehicle in front of it and having hard braking incidents. And really, the key here is the driver sees the feedback themselves. So these telematics programs are actually apps that are downloaded directly from the insurer. All major insurers have these programs today. And it's not just the feedback, but it's also incentives. And these are significant. We're talking about $200 every 6 or 12 months for drivers that are in these programs, simply number one, for opting in and downloading these apps and enrolling in these programs. And then number two, these programs update over time. And the safer a driver is, the more money they save over time. And if we think about the alternative strategies that are out from a road safety perspective, we're talking about enforcement, getting cited or pulled over for these incidents, or we're talking about education. This is really probably the most significant tool that's available as an incentive to individuals directly for their enrollment in these programs. And by the way, drivers that are in these programs are 3 times safer than those that do not. And we're talking about $4 billion a year that the insurance industry is providing to individual drivers for their opt-in and enrollment in telematics-based programs.
You know, that's interesting, Ryan. But I got a question for you and for Joan, really. I mean, I drive all the time when I'm going to work and even when I'm coming back from work. And at nighttime sometimes, I'll see the glow of the cell phone. I know someone is on it while they're driving. It's so frustrating. If you're one of those drivers that sees somebody that's driving distracted, do you have any kind of recommendations of what you can do to maybe make them stop?
think one of the things that's important in this respect is to help educate with the data. And we are now at the point that we have a really good understanding of which behaviors lead to crashes. And I don't think any driver wants to start their day or wants to finish their day with a crash somewhere in between it. And this is probably significant that people do not understand that 1/3 of all crashes are involving a driver holding a phone at the time that that impact occurs. And overall, about 6 million drivers, so as we speak right now, about 6 million drivers are driving with a phone in their hand. So connecting these dots, connecting the behavior to the outcome is significant.
Joan, I want to ask you, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add another tip. If you're a passenger in a car with a distracted driver, I mean, speak up. I know it's awkward to tell your husband or your wife or your kids or whatever, family or friend. It's awkward, but it's really impactful and it's empowering too. Also for a ride share, if you're in an Uber or Lyft this holiday season coming back and forth to the airport, I mean, look, you're paying for that ride and you're entitled to a safe ride. So speak up to that ride share driver. Again, I know it's awkward, but it's really critically important to empower yourself to have that safe ride.
My wife doesn't find it awkward at all to tell me how to drive if I'm driving a certain way. I know that. But let's go for more information on where people can really kind of come up with ideas and tips, maybe some suggestions if they see a family or friend driving while distracted.
Sure. Our guide right now with tips and strategies, Every Second Matters, available at the travelersinstitute.org. Also, Ryan's terrific company, Cambridge Mobile Telematics, CMT.ai.
Okay, Joan and Ryan, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much, and happy holidays.
Thank you.